I am doing a quick video update in between the events in my busy life with my son who is standing right here next to me, ominously whipping out his, what do you call that kind of knife?
My pocket knife?
I don't want a pocket knife. It's like a utility knife or something. I don't know. He's whipping it out ominously as he is wont to do.
I also have my American raisin.
Well, that's nice. He likes to video bomb my videos. So this is a video update, like I said, in between the events of my busy life. I spent last Saturday afternoon working on my book. I was working on a scene in which my main character is trying to escape a breakdancing gang in this large, most of the time empty parking lot by D. Brumman Stadium and the Convention Center. And to escape this breakdancing gang, he runs on this portion of the Spring River Parkway. There's this long pathway that I don't know how many miles it goes, maybe, I don't know. But there's a portion of this pathway that goes underneath Main Street and back up on the other side, and then eventually it ends at the Roswell Zoo. Okay, so he escapes this breakdancing gang by running under the street and jumping over a homeless man that's down there, because there are homeless people that like to hang out down there. And then he eventually escapes from the breakdancing gang with the help of a friend, and yay, he's free, he's escaped. So that's what I did last Saturday afternoon. And then I kind of just got lazy, and I laid down on the couch and I watched the rain. I had started to fall, and we had lightning, and we even got a flash flood warning. But New Mexicans are used to flash floods. They happen fairly regularly. We have flood drainage systems in place in most towns in New Mexico for that reason. But I don't think any of us were prepared for the kind of flooding that we got. Well, yeah, nobody was prepared for it. We got close to 6 inches in a very short period of time. In fact, my son, what are you pointing at, Sam? My son, Sam, who is pointing at the dog who's looking pathetically at me through the window to try to make me feel bad, apparently. Anyway, he had gone to a party, and because of the flash flooding, he got trapped at the party because the entire town of Roswell flooded, and to such an extent that people lost their houses, cars, several people died. It was historic. It was a historic level of flooding. My town is completely decimated. And when I use the term decimated, I mean that honestly, because it was probably to the tune of hundreds of houses that were destroyed, and people's cars were just carried away. And, you know, they would live in the west part of Roswell, and they would find their car the next day on the east side of Roswell. That's how the floodwaters, how bad the floodwaters were here. And that area that I was writing a scene in was completely flooded out. So if there were any homeless people down there, they probably died. And I really hope that they got away, because a lot of times the homeless people in Roswell, which we have quite a large population of homeless here, they will go underneath the street there to get out of the rain when it starts to rain. But if they were down there, well, I don't know. I mean, right now we only have 3 confirmed deaths, so I don't know what happened to the homeless population. Hopefully they saw how much it was raining and they got up out of there, because that is actually that portion that goes underneath the street is a flood drainage area, and so they may have gotten out. I really hope so, but it was one of those weird, ironic, kind of left a weird bad taste in my mouth, because my books are comedies and there was nothing funny about what happened. There was nothing funny about, you know, one moment my character is leaping over the legs of a homeless person who's sleeping down there, and if that homeless person were really sleeping down there with what happened Saturday night, that he would have died. And so there's nothing funny about it, and I didn't really have the heart to make a video last week. It was just, even though my house did not flood and my house was fine because it's up a little bit higher. There was this horrible, like, heavy feeling inside because so many people, friends that I have here in town, their houses were destroyed. And because I work for a church, we tried to get volunteers together to go out and help people and deliver them supplies. So I spent most of last week doing that, and it's unbelievable how much emotional toll it takes on you, even when you're not at ground zero cleaning out houses. And now my son, who had a day off of school last week, he was at ground zero helping people clean out their houses. I couldn't really do that working from an office, but even not doing that, not being out there, not losing a house, it's still, the emotional toll is fairly heavy, and it's still there because people are still dealing with it. I went out yesterday. I wanted to get out of the house to work on my book, and so I was driving around, and there were still roads closed in various places because there was a lot of damage done to roads, and so I had to find alternate routes, to get where I wanted to go. And yeah, it just the level. I mean, a lot of cleanup happened last week, but the level of devastation is still there. It's going to be probably years before Roswell recovers from this. It's not going to be easy. It's probably going to be in the millions of dollars. I mean, it could reach $1 billion to actually fix this town and get it back to a functional level again. It's just really heartbreaking, and it comes on the heels of a lot of other flooding and devastation in other places. And so maybe, Roswell's just a blip on the map compared to what people in Florida or North Carolina, what happened to them, or Virginia, what happened to them with their damage and flooding. But we're still important. We're still a town of 50,000 people, and our needs matter just as much as those who were devastated by the hurricanes. So that's all I want to do, is get on here and just give that update. I don't really have much else to say. I'm still working on getting my second book done. It's a Roswell that wasn't devastated by flooding. It's supposed to be sort of current time. It's not futuristic like some of my books are. But it's a Roswell that's going to exist without that flooding, because that's how I started writing it, just like with Delivering Hope. It was a Roswell pre-flooding, and the second book is going to be a Roswell that's also pre-flooding, because I don't know, a lot of the houses in the downtown area that take place in the book, those houses were destroyed. So in those areas, and a lot of houses were fine. It just really depends on where you were, which house. So sometimes it was one house on an entire block that didn't flood because it was just up a little bit higher. And so I had one friend who told me that her house is up just a little bit higher. She could see the river running down her street, and it was very fast. The rapids were very fast, and it was carrying all kinds of things. And all the other houses on the street were flooding with a foot of water, 2 feet of water. And so a lot of her neighbors were like rushing from their houses and climbing on her porch, because her porch was up a little bit higher, and that's what she had to deal with. And her basement flooded, but a basement flooding just seems like a very small thing compared to an entire house just being destroyed. I had a friend who was just right in the path of the river, and like there was a river that pretty much destroyed her house, like her entire house, carried her and her parents' cars away, just gone. Like your life is normal one moment, and the next it's completely gone. And a lot of people did not have flood insurance because they won't sell you flood insurance unless you're actually in a flood zone, and a lot of these houses weren't in flood zones. That's what Roswell's dealing with. And so anyway, my books really seem unimportant when it comes down to it, but you know. And who reads anymore anyway? So I hear nobody reads anymore. Years and years ago, well, even as a child, it used to be fairly rare to find somebody who was a bookworm. I think because of television had taken that spot in people's lives. But now, of course, it's just gotten worse. But I don't care. I'm going to keep writing books because I write very human characters, and hopefully the people who do read my books will find some kind of hope and inspiration, because that's what the first book is called. It's called Delivering Hope, and that's what I want to deliver to people, and in a comic way, in a funny way. Okay. And when I said that I was making this video in between events, I'm about to have guests. So that's what I mean. That's life. Life carries on. Our roads were closed. You know, Roswell was kind of trapped for a while, but now our roads are open, and I'm having out-of-town guests come, and I'm looking forward to that. And I will talk to you another time.